Another week of NASA GT Americas presented by Simracer Coin. This time the action takes us to Road Atlanta. This track features a lot of hills, a lot of turns, and a lot of action tonight. This time we're here for the Peach State Classic presented by Slipstream Media. Last week it was Josh Klog with a sweep in the GTEs, while Mr. Challenger won his 8th straight in the GT3s at Interlagos. I'm Chad Irvine, and here with me tonight in the ASN commentary cube, as always, is our good friend Mike Barry. Mike, tell us about this beautiful track that we're at.
Yeah, Road Atlanta, one of the all-time greats in terms of American tracks. Home to Petit Le Mans, a mainstay in SCCA competition, and now it gets a prestigious event in the Peach State Classic.
Yeah, it's a lot of hills, a lot of twists, a lot of turns, a very long backstretch. I've been informed that you can land a plane on it, but part of that straightaway as well, though, is a lot of hills to go with it. Elevation is a big part of this track, especially, turn one and that couple of corners that follow it, all downhill, really make things interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be really cool to see guys, like, when you get such a good run coming down that hill and it's going into the chicane there, it's a really good place to stick it up the inside, but it doesn't leave the defender completely out of it, because he can always get him back on the second turn and coming towards the start-finish line on the main stretch.
And if you look at your track map, it's 2.5 miles, opened in 1970, 12 turns and runs clockwise direction. If you look at it from that angle, it kind of, to me, looks like a little guitar, maybe. You got a little guitar neck sticking out the top with the double hairpin. But it's a very nice track, very nice and flowing. One chicane as you come towards the last part of your lap. After a quick downhill, so you do pick up a lot of speed down that long straightaway, especially with the way the hills play out.
Yeah, we are gonna, as I said before, we're gonna see a lot of moves coming into there, but that's not the only place you can pass. Coming out of the S's, going into it, I believe it's turn 6, right at the top of the what you call the guitar head. That's a great place to stick it up the inside, because you got 2 right-handers there, and if you're able to get onto the inside, you'll have a decent some good momentum going onto the backstretch.
And this, of course, is our 6th race of the season. And as we take a look, we do have some tight battles in our points championships. That was a look at all of our point standings. Have to thank Simracer Coin, Red Kite Virtual Motorsport, Spark for Virtual Racing, as well as iDrive Sim Training for their proud sponsorship of this season's championships. About halfway through qualifying right now, and some surprises and some standouts all across your grid so far. Triple nines of Philip Kraus at the top. As well, he's followed by Ray Kingsbury, Blake Browns, and Michael Janney, and then Savian Ragster down in 5th place. So once again, looks like the Team Renovo guys are struggling just a little bit in qualifying.
Yeah, those Renova guys, they've been real fast, but maybe we found our Achilles heel. this track, I say it about all of our tracks in the series, but it's pretty different compared to everything, but I say the track that is most similar to is Interlagos, and they didn't do half bad there. So, yeah, I should wait. No, they didn't do great there. Yeah, so maybe we found their weakness is those tracks with long straightaways, but also very tight flowing corners. Maybe that's just the Ferrari, because they're the only 4 Ferraris. So we'll be interesting to see.
And down in the AM class, last week we saw the top 5 finishers in the feature race. All were the BMWs. This time we only have 3 in the entire top 10. with Challenger and Houston 1 and 2, and then rounding out the top 10 as well is Holland, Derek Holland. But then you got drivers like Clark Archer, Taylor Carroll, Sindre Silva in 5th right now, Kieran Forrest, and Levi Hensley there as well. So 4 Lamborghinis right there sitting 4th through 7th.
Yeah, those Lamborghinis, they've been pretty strong, but it seems like the BMW has been the dominant car. Obviously, our top 3 in points in GTM, Jimmy Mullins, Christian Challenger, and Peter Houston, they're all in BMWs, and I don't know, maybe we're starting to see what we might have to balance out next season in GTM. Then again, we also do have a Mercedes in 4th. I think that's the lone Mercedes really competing. That's Clark Archer, and he's been doing great. Just impressive run by him.
Yeah, he's 3rd in GTM, and there's been some shakeups up in the pro class if you look at your time and scoring. Janney and Reynolds both have leapfrogged Ray Kingsbury. And Ray, I believe, he has turned all 3 of his laps, so yeah, he's not going to get another lap in, it looks like.
I mean, he might. I mean, we're not. Unless has he pulled it in already? Yes,
yeah, he's pulled it in. I don't think he has enough time to get that done, get another lap in. But looks like most of our drivers have completed their laps. The only driver I think still on track coming to the line for his final time is going to be Sean Stratton. He's currently sitting shotgun on the field, and he'll have some work to do in the future.
Yeah, about 3 seconds off the pace from Christian Challenger, but he's got some work to do. But I don't know, we've seen some decent performances out of him. Maybe we can see him move up into the I'm out to 12. Yeah, we can see him move up a couple spots. I think it all depends on how the sprint race goes, because it does determine like where we are for the feature.
And one interesting note is Cody Cosgrove did not set a qualifying time.
Yeah, interesting call. I mean, starting at the back of the field, that's going to be a bit of a tough thing. But I don't know, we've seen speed from Cody. I mean, we could see him potentially get up into the points by even the end of the sprint. It's going to be tough, but never count him out.
I don't think that he was in here for practice. He set some decent laps, but he didn't set a time at all as we start to wind things down. He's just sitting at the end of pit road. Very interesting.
I'll point to it now. Right now, we've about a tenth and a half difference between Phil Kraus and Michael Janney. Michael Janney has been basically the dominant qualifier all season, and even probably the dominant driver in GT Pro. So we could be witnessing a bit of a turn of tides here. Philip Kraus, he's, I don't know, we're gonna have to see.
Yeah, the Drivers' Point Championships, as we showed you a moment ago, Clog, Janney, Kingsbury, Rags. So that's Spark, then Renovo, then Spark, then Renovo, alternating through the field. A 9-point lead for Clog over Janney as it stands, but it's definitely going to be fun to watch them battle it out throughout this race. Still looks like no changes to your top qualifiers in either class. Still Kraus, Janney, Reynolds, Kingsbury, and Pandev, your top 5 in Pro. And Challenger, Houston, Archer, Carroll, and Silva, your top 5 in the AM class.
And we only have 30 seconds left in qualifying, so anybody who wants to, get a qualifying in lap, better hurry. But I don't think anybody's actually going to get a chance to. No, it seems like everybody's off the field and qualified.
Yeah, the only driver still on track is Sean Stratton, and he's already turned his 3 laps, so just kind of working his way throughout. You're just trying to get as many laps and get as comfortable with the car as he can, especially on the light fuel load that we're going to see here in the sprint race. And as always, it is a 15-minute sprint, a 45-minute feature, and we're going to put on the best show that we can, that we always do here in GT Americas, this time from Road Atlanta.
You can see it there, 15 minutes and 45. I mean, I think the 15-minute sprint is always exciting because we don't really have to worry about conserving the tires, and we see all the guys just go all out. But that feature race also just, is probably the more technical race because, we have all those guys who, they all want to go fast, but they have to make sure they're being careful and not burden up their tires too quickly.
And is there going to be a standing start for today's race? There's the pace car. The pace car just took its time. I think that the pace car forgot to fill the tank. Yeah, maybe just hiding under that Michelin bridge right there. But pace car is in. I was getting excited. I thought we were gonna see a standing start, and that was just gonna be a huge curveball for some of these drivers. So still waiting on a couple guys to grid in. Looks like Philip Kraus is there. Janny finally gets in there, waiting on Ray Kingsbury now. For the most part, though, the grid
There he
has
is.
filled up nicely.
Ray's there.
Ray is not there, taking his sweet old time. You're getting him mixed up with his teammate Josh Clog. The last guy, there he is. Finally pops in the dark gold Spark virtual racing car there of Ray Kingsbury. A couple cars behind him in a similar but more yellowish livery is his teammate Josh Clog. Field starts to get rolling here. And it is a smaller field today. 14 drivers in the pro category. Only 13 down in AM.
Yeah, I mean, bit of a drop off from what we've seen before, but I think we're still going to see some great racing here, especially in the GT Pro class. We've seen these guys really step it up. I mean, before you could argue that the AM was putting on the better races when we had those great duels between Challenger and Jimmy Mullis.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, these guys have really stepped up their game, and I think they're ready to show why they are the pro class.
And that's going to be the fun thing to note, by the way, is that there is not going to be anybody from either Richmond Raceway Esports or some of the other NASCAR Coke Series drivers. Legends Never Die aren't here as well. There's just a bunch of drivers. You know, it was the start of NIS of the Coke Series this week, so definitely going to be fun to watch those guys in that series as well. Jimmy Mullis, that's running second in the points here. He was set for a top 5 finish at Daytona for the Coke Series opener this week, and unfortunately got taken out early, or coming to the checkered flag in that one. So disappointing day for him there, but you know what? We'll have to see how the rest of the season goes for him, because he's definitely a contender there in Coke Series.
We wish all the best luck to all of our pro series guys. You know, repping NASA. I think, I don't know, guys like Novak and Mullis repping us. I mean, you know, we found our guys to root for, and we've made sure they're good.
And Blake Reynolds, I think, is one of the only drivers that does run the Coke Series that is here. So that's Blake Reynolds there in the 06, that red car, second in line. And he did, yeah, it looks like he's got a different car going tonight. So switch it over to the Ferrari, and what a beautiful paint scheme he's got on that thing.
Now pace car's pulling in.
Make that change. Pace car comes away, and the green flag is out. So it's going to be Kraus with a huge start. Reynolds on the inside of Janny already. He's going to get second spot before they even get to turn 1.
Yeah, going to turn 1 right now. It's a Ford and then 2 Ferraris side by side. Michael Janny and Blake Reynolds going side by side up the top of the hill into the first S. Ooh, look at Blake Reynolds right over the dirt. Maybe a 1X.
And we've got issues in the back or in the middle of the GT3 field before they even got to the line. Taylor Carroll, who had qualified 4th in class, as they got the green flag, it looks like they were almost 3 wide as it was him and one other driver just did not get going there. Very interesting to see. He was involved, yeah, in contact with, I can't tell who that other car is there alongside him. It's one of the red cars. That's Houston. Second and 4th right there. And Houston, I guess, just was not going on the outside line. And unfortunately, there was some contact there that checked up basically the entire field. So a lot of work still to be done if they want to make up their ground. They have shown the pace to do it, but how much damage is on those cars?
I mean, Peter Houston and Taylor Carroll both still running, but probably out of contention for the race. Christian Challenger, compared to Taylor Carroll, is currently coming down the backstretch while Taylor Carroll is just entering it. So, you know, unfortunate luck looking for it.
And that's looking at second in AM. That is, I believe, Sindre Silva trying to get around. That is Clark Archer.
Sindre, not a regular in the series, so he's out here just trying to make a name for himself. Obviously, one of our guys in Rallycross, but I mean, he's definitely shown that the Rallycross guys can hang with these GT guys.
Well, we do talk about, our Coke Series and our iRacing professional drivers. He is one of them over in the Rallycross side. Does a great job showing there. We do have a couple of pro drivers over in the NASA Rallycross Challenge as well, between him and Bo Albert, Connor Parisi. A lot of guys running in the NASA Series, really helping bolster these fields and definitely putting on a great show for all of you there watching at home.
Yeah, looking forward to GT Pro right now. Mike Reynolds has lost about a second to Philip Kraus. Michael Janney right on his tail going into the chicane here. And just like to Ferrari, it's to Ford, 2 Ferraris, a Chevy, and a Ferrari. So obviously Italians kind of showing up and showing their dominance.
Yeah, you were just talking pre-race. I think that's the commentator cursing again about how the Ferraris didn't have the pace around here, and Janney showing it going wide. Commentator blessing at that point.
Yeah, I mean, he's proven me wrong, but then again, I've kind of learned not to doubt Michael Janney. He's such a great racer and qualifier, the elite of the elite in GT Pro.
And there's Levi Hensley, that slower car. He's got some damage as well. Something must have happened to him. Maybe he was in that contact as well, because he came out of pit road just in front of the second place car of Blake Reynolds and really hampered Michael Janney's entrance to turn number 2.
Yeah, I'm taking a look back to see what happened with Hensley. I think he might have, maybe he didn't have enough fuel. Maybe he still had his qualifying setup on, but he didn't see anything. But then he's just been removed from the server, so that's odd. I guess we'll never know.
That's very interesting to see. Would be curious to know what happened there, but back out front, Philip Kraus just starting to run away with it. He's got a 1.4 second lead at the line. The closest battle there in GT3, I believe, is going to be further down. That's Josh Klog, McDonald. They're pretty much nose to tail coming through the last couple of corners. There's a look at your leader there in the 999 of Philip Kraus. Ford Team Spark Virtual Racing. And then there's Reynolds coming up the hill in that beautiful new Ferrari, throwing away all his points to make the change. And there's Michael Janney in that Team Renova livery we're so used to seeing. There's Ray Kingsbury currently sitting 3rd in the points as he works his way up the hill through this long S section. Followed by Ivan Pandev in 5th place there. Another one, and there you can tell there are 2 different versions of that Renovo scheme between the Chrome version and the matte white. The difference is there's 2 separate teams that they're running. I believe it is Pandev and
it's Pandev and Ragster.
And Ragster there. Yep, Pandev and Ragster are running the Reloaded, and then McDonald and Janney are running for the Renovo Chrome team. So that's why you will see 2 different Renovo teams. As we're 5 minutes into this, in our team championship standings, there are 2 different team Renovos, and both of them, they are working together, but they do put on a great show between each other and between them and the rest of the front runners up here in NASA GT Americas.
Yeah, you have to wonder, maybe, or if the Renova guys, the silver, the chromes and the whites, if they have like a competition between them to see who's better. Obviously it's no secret that they're the same team, but on a competitive edge might show those guys are different to us, so let's kick their butts.
And back in GT3, Steve Brown working his way up the grid. He's already picked up 1 spot, just made another one as he works his way through the field. Also that lap, Sindre Silva got around Clark Archer to take 2nd place, but those guys are about 7 seconds behind Christian Challenger already. I think part of that has to do with that early contact that we saw and the rest of that GT3 grid getting a slow start back in basically the 2nd place that started all that contact, so the entire field had to check up behind Christian Challenger.
Yeah, we're actually watching something interesting. Obviously, we really haven't seen much of the Mercedes in this season, but they're really starting to show their strengths here in Georgia. I mean, maybe we found the state for them.
Yeah, and That is a look at Savy and Ragster getting around Marwin Mafta as they complete their fifth lap of the race. As we approach halfway, still about another minute until we get to that point. But great job by Ragster picking up just one spot at a time. He's up to 9th and can only he's only looking forward right now as he's got Matt Kingsbury up the road about 2 seconds.
One thing that's really interesting, I know I keep talking about manufacturers, but this is really the first time I think we've really seen a Ford be competitive. They weren't great at Road America. They were pretty off. Yeah, they were pretty awful at a VIR. They're pretty average. They've been pretty average everywhere else, but you know, maybe we just found a strong suit for them. It's really interesting to see all the manufacturers that we thought like maybe weren't the strongest. This is the maybe their upset track.
And it is also Philip Kraus behind the wheel. I believe he has the third highest I rating in the class, or in the race, behind both Challoner and Janney. He's around 4,300. But yeah, overall, I mean, just a spectacular racer. I've raced with him and done some endurance stuff with him before, and he's just a spectacular driver. So really putting on a great show, and very intense, a very competitive guy as well. He's already got about a 2-second lead on Blake Reynolds.
Yeah, when Blake Reynolds, obviously no slouch, but Phil Kraus, man, he's just really showing why he deserves to be up in the competition. I mean, his results really haven't shown.
If you want to talk about how prepared he was for the race, I was in a discussion with him and a couple of their smart guys before the race, and he's like, hey, does anybody even have a paint job for me? So he didn't even know how his car was going to look until about a couple of hours before this race even started. Fresh paint, maybe a little more aerodynamic, I'm not too sure.
No. I mean, for me, when I ran that rallycross race a couple weeks ago, thanks obviously Josh for letting me do that, I didn't know what my car was going to look like, so yeah, maybe I think the paint definitely, not knowing what the paint is kind of interesting. I mean, you don't know if you're going to get a kind of crappy paint scheme. I mean, I didn't get one. Phil Kraus didn't get one. I think it's really showing from both of their performances.
They're going 3 wide into this chicane. Backing out, thinking a lot better of it was Matt Kingsbury there. That's Matt Kingsbury. Is that Josh Klog there as well? Yeah, Josh Klog picking up 1 spot on Dan McDonald. And then Dan McDonald actually lost 2 spots there as Matt Kingsbury got around him as well.
Yeah, 2 chrome cars going at it for the win, or for 7th here. McDonald just trying his best. I think that Ferrari's still stronger on the straight, so we might have to wait till then. As he comes through the S's now.
Yeah, you really have to be aggressive on those curbs so you don't lose too much time. But if you catch one of those just wrong, it can definitely upset the car, as we've seen numerous times at this track in Petit Le Mans.
Indeed.
Very wide there, both Kingsbury and McDonald.
Yeah, Kingsbury kind of kicking up a little bit of dirt there. I mean, just really curious. I mean, that wall does come out here like crazy.
Yeah, this is
really don't want to.
Now this is the battle for second in GTM, the M category between Archer and Silva. Archer got around Silva on that last lap, and Sindre trying to make a move coming up the hill. He peeked his nose, but was not able to get inside before the corner.
Yeah, but don't keep Steve Brown out of your sights too long, because he's closing up fast and these two are battling. We could see 2 Mercedes on the front row, which is something we haven't seen recently, or not the front row, on the podium. We haven't seen that in this season. It'll be interesting to see if we can change that.
And you know, the big guys are away. You know, you can't ignore the absence of guys like Mullis and Novak. And the thing is, though, is that these guys are still just as talented. They'd be putting on a show because, yeah, Christian Challoner is kind of pulled away in some events, but at the same time, the battle for second, the battle for third, at times it's come down to the last lap as we approach 4 minutes remaining, 4 laps to go.
Yeah, anyway, Christian doesn't count. I mean, if you don't beat him, what's the big deal? He's cheating anyway because he's getting all of his information from iRacing home base.
Oh, I doubt that he's using any more than these other guys have. He just drives the car way too much. But no, Christian's a great guy and really working his way up through this field. He's pulled an 11-second gap back to Clark Archer.
And we love you, Christian. And just at least behind your excitement.
Some fun up in this is still Sindre Silva that we're looking at with Clark Archer.
Over aggressive. That could be a slowdown for Clark Archer.
He's got to be very aggressive, like I talked about. You can get slowdowns. You can damage the floor of your car as well. We've seen a couple guys bend up their splitters on some of the curving in last couple of races, so you really have to be mindful of your car. But 3 laps to go now, and up at we were talking about the battle earlier between McDonald and Kingsbury, and they've caught right back up to Josh Boggs. The 3 of those up the hill, and last time down the front, last time down the front straightaway, McDonald definitely peeked his nose at Matt Kingsbury, but could not get up in time to make that move and get the position.
Yeah, looking forward to GT Pro real quick. The leaders are having to work their race through some lap traffic. Among them, Peter Houston, obviously was involved in that pre-race incident. Blake Reynolds is about to come right by him now, and Michael Janney is just getting by Seth Rawls, who is not having the best of days.
Thankfully, he can make up for it in our feature race. We still have that 45-minute feature that we talked about. That one is always exciting with battles all throughout the field, and that's where lap traffic really comes into play.
Indeed, I mean, if we're seeing just looking at my intervals here, it's like we're, 10 minutes in, and we're already getting dangerously close to some of these GT3 guys getting a lap. So we're probably going to see 2 lap cycles of cars. Something we really haven't seen except for when we were at we kind of saw it at Virginia. We didn't really see much of it at Road America. We didn't really see any of it there, and we saw a good bit of it at Interlagos, but.
Yeah, the only thing that we really can compare this to in GT America is going back to last season when we went to Lime Rock Park. We didn't have the multi-class, but those laps were so short. If you're, 2 seconds off the pace, it's a very slow car here on the right side. Thankfully, gets out of the way and keeps things clean for these guys up ahead. But going back to Lime Rock last season, Lime Rock last season, you're 2 seconds off the pace, you're getting laps, every 10, 15 minutes, it felt like.
Yeah, I mean, just super interesting to see. I mean, we've known the difference between the GT3s and the GTEs, but this might be the track to highlight the differences. I mean, they're about 3 seconds a lap faster, and we are gonna see them getting lapped a ton. So, be interesting.
Coming to the white flag for Philip Kraus, going through these first opening couple corners for the final time here in the sprint, and working his way down the hill towards the pack of GT3s.
In that pack, Brandon Lambert, Kieran Forrest, Russell Clayson, two Lamborghinis and a Mercedes. Jeez, I'm losing my words here, but yeah, it doesn't look like they're going to play too much of a factor in Philip Kraus. Blake Reynolds, about a second back. I don't think he's going to get to him unless he does something crazy into the chicane. Yeah, I mean, Philip Kraus really coming here and upsetting the field.
Yeah, Philip Kraus, as we're taking a look through the chicane for the final time. And he's going to be pulling away by a good margin as he comes through the final corner and to the line. And Kraus takes the checkered in pro category here at Road Atlanta.
Blake Reynolds finished second back. Saw him having a battle with Matt Kingsbury. He's going to get ahead by a decent bit there. Good race for him. He's going to claim 6th. Ivan Panda, Ray Kingsbury, Michael Janney are going to round out your top 5 in the opposite order of what I said it in, because I read the wrong way. Saving Ranks is going to be right behind Matt Kingsbury, so good run for him. Danny McDonald finishing 9th, and Marlon Lofter is going to round out our top 10.
You can't ignore Christian Challoner getting his 9th consecutive victory, taking 5 sprints in a row. And something must have happened to Sindre Silva, because he was running second basically that entire time, and he ended up having to go to the pit lane, and he ends up finishing 7th in class?
If I'm not wrong, that's 7th. I mean,
7th in class, yeah.
It's unfortunate. Luckily, all the guys who were a lap down had already finished, so he drop down too many spots, but he's not going to get the points. I mean, it really doesn't matter because he's not running full time, but, you know, disappointing.
Let's look at the replay to see what happened there. Just trying to really send it. Caught that curbing. Does it again. Oh, yeah. That was interesting. But let's see if we can't figure out what happened there. We're ready to give us just a moment. We'll get ready for our sprint or feature race as well. We're going to step away for a short intermission, and we will be back for a 45-minute. Yeah, it might have just been a fuel for him, but yeah, we'll step away from here, take a quick break, and be back in just a couple of minutes for your feature from Road Atlanta. back to Road Atlanta for the Beach State Classic, sponsored by Slipstream Media. Doing a great job, as always, on the production side of things is Victor Vallee, and of course, Chad Irvine here with me, as always, is Mike Barry up here in the ASN commentary cube. What a great show we had to start off the night with Philip Kraus taking GT Pro win in the sprint with Christian Challenger. No surprise there, getting the win in the AM category.
Yeah, good dominant showing by Christian Challenger, basically as always, and great battle for second and third in GT Pro. I mean, hopefully we'll see these battles like move their way up to the front, but from what we've seen so far, I think we've an exciting race to look ahead to.
And one thing that we have to mention, and it's a driver that's missing from tonight's grid, is a fierce competitor up in our pro class. Jack Belton from Red Kite Motorsports was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma today and is sitting out today's race, but it doesn't mean he's not here in spirit. Drivers across the grid are sporting the purple ribbon. Some guys are doing even more. Your AM class leader, Christian Challenger, has it right behind his front tires. All of Renovo Racing has the purple ribbon on their doors, as well as Tim Brokaw with an exceptional tribute, and only being up by Brandon Lambert, who his car looks just as spectacular. Our thoughts go out to you, Jack, as I'm sure you're watching from home, and hopefully we'll see you back on track soon here in NASA GT Americas, because you're always a fierce competitor here in the exciting grid that we put on. So, had to give a little shout out there to our friend competitors, a small community here, the iRacing community. You know, we all have to have each other's backs, Jack. We'll keep you in our thoughts, and you know, take care of yourself. If you need anything, just let us know. We're a strong community. We'll help you out. But back to the on-track action. Setting the pace here in practice is Blake Reynolds, followed by Janie and Philip Kraus, your top three. Two Ferraris up front here in practice, so definitely good to see some pace out of them. Looks like we are one driver short for the feature. Not sure who we are missing at the moment, but just about at a full grid, so we can go racing here momentarily. Just a couple of moments left in final practice for these guys to get used to their full fuel load.
Sorry about that. Had a couple of technical difficulties there.
I was wondering where you went, Mike. Did you get lost on your way back into the cube?
Yeah, my headset decided to not work. I mean, it's a 3-year-old headset, so I'm not exactly surprised. But
You try turning it off and turning it back on again?
I did try turning it off and turn it back on again, and I think it worked.
Well, welcome back up here, because you always have to try that first. Just watching the last couple moments of practice. That's a look at Philip Kraus working his way down the hill in that Spark car. And a great job taking the win over in the sprint race.
A good performance, just a great performance there. I'm looking Blake Reynolds right now has the fastest lap in this warm-up we're doing right now. Another minute left in it, but by about 300. And we didn't point out by our director that we do have a difference in temperature here. If I'm not wrong, it's a little bit.
Track temperature down 10 degrees. 10 degrees is a lot when it comes to these cars. You get so much more grip, and we'll have to see what that does to these cars. Thankfully, guys, getting as many laps as they can out there. Just trying to get things all squared away for this feature race.
Some guys kind of paying caution to the wind here on the track temp. 78 degrees out there, but I don't know, they're kind of just going through the grass right now. It's a little bit of practice, just, you know, getting a little bit of practice for our rallycross race next week over on ASN TV. That'll be Wednesday nights.
Next week, we will be at Sonoma Wednesday. Coverage goes live at 9 o'clock Eastern. And we'll have a surprise member called myself taking the grid in that one. So I'll try to make you not look too bad out there, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of set the bar pretty high, I know, but I think you'll be able to live up to it.
Well, there's only one way to find out, and that's for me to make a complete fool of myself.
I think it's great.
Drivers starting to grid up here. We'll run through your starting lineup. On pole position, the winner of the pro category is Philip Kraus. And then it's going to be Blake Reynolds, Michael Janney, Ray Kingsbury, and Yvonne Pandev in 5th. Then Clog, Kingsbury, Ragster, McDonald, and Mofta wrapping up the top 10. And then it's Lane, Brokaw, Fanning, and Cosgrove.
And looking back at our GTM field, we have Christian Challoner on the pole, won the sprint race. Right behind him, or right to the side of him, is going to be Clark Archer. Steve Brown in 3rd, Russell Clayson in 4th, Brandon Lambert in 5th, Kieran Forrest in 6th, Sindra Silva in 7th, Peter Houston in 8th, Seth Rawls in 9th, Derek Holland in 10th, Sean Stratton in 11th, and Taylor Carroll wrapping out our GTM field in 12th.
And we are going to have a short pace lap, it looks like. Whoever set up the session decided not to give them the full time to warm up their tires, but it just makes things more interesting off the start. Christian trying to leave that gap for the AM class, but waiting for the pace car to pull off, and he does this really short pace lap, it looks like. And getting to the green is Philip Kraus, and he's going to pull away cleanly from Blake Reynolds. And then Michael Janney. They're too wide going for 3rd place right now between Janney and Kingsbury. Kingsbury's going to get the spot. And now it's going to be Clog trying to get the spot away from Janney as well. Janney had to hammer the curbing there in turn 2 and got through clean. And there's a look at the rolling start. They are rolling cleanly this time in GTMs.
Yeah, a lot of Mercedes right there in top 3, side by side with 2 of them. That's Clark Archer and Steve Brown.
Issues for Michael Janney, just clobbering the tire barrier. We'll have to see how much damage that did to his car. Went through, I believe it was turn 5. Got the curbing a little too much. We've talked about that a lot in the sprint race and just absolutely hammered it. Here's a look, and just watch out, coming right for you. Bam, into the tires.
Yeah, looking back to GTM, now battle between Clark Archer and Steve Brown. It looks like Clark Archer has gotten ahead. Steve Brown about 5 car lengths back. He's now under threat from Brandon Lambert in that Audi. And how he as they come onto the backstretch. That Audi is a little bit faster on the straight, so we'll see if he's able to get a good run down here.
That is a very long and very hilly backstretch with a tight chicane at the end of it. You really want to try to set yourself up for a strong pass there, as it's still Challoner, Archer, Brown, Clayson, and Lambert. Sindra Silva was running 2nd at the time. He unfortunately, it looks like, got disconnected or ran out of fuel. Something happened to him at the end. He ran out of fuel at the end of the sprint race, and unfortunately was the first car 1 lap down at the end of it. So he's got some work to do to try to work his way up through the field.
Yeah, we like to joke about a lot of guys that tend to cut it short on fuel here, trying to save as much weight as possible. And that's one of the consequences you face. He had about a lap to go. If he had just maybe put a gallon more, he would have easily made it. But he took that risk and it didn't pay off. But he'll learn next time.
Yeah, I mean, even a half a gallon, I feel like you can at least nurse at home to not lose as many spots. But putting on a great show so far, Sindra Silva already up 1 spot. And make that 2 as he gets around Kieran Forrest. And taking a look, that is Blake Reynolds. He's got a different paint scheme, it looks like, as he changed cars. Yeah, I guess something must happen, because it was a green and red Ferrari with the Italian stripe, but now just look at that orange and black beauty.
It's a gorgeous car. Obviously, that's the McLaren colors. We know where he's going next season.
This season,
This season, yep. Sorry.
Yeah,
and,
so he is still running 2nd, and then so Kraus, Kingsbury, Clog, Pandev, and Ragster, your top 5 in GT Pro.
Blake Reynolds, he realized he let Philip Kraus get a little bit too far ahead. He wasn't really able to catch him much. Now it seems like he's not going to let him out of his sights, but you got to wonder, what's that going to do to his tires? Is he going to be able to keep him cool enough and not take as much rubber off of him and be there in 40 minutes?
And that's a look at the red kite machine there of Cody Cosgrove getting a little loose there.
Good Michael Dan making a challenge to him.
Let's see if we can't take a look at the 67 of Tim Brokaw, by the way. I mentioned during the break, you see that on the side, the purple ribbon with Jack across it. Such a great tribute there. So great job by Brokaw to get that done. And right behind him, that battle that we talked about, they were side by side going into that last corner, working their way now down the hill.
Yeah, obviously, it's great tribute. We love you, Jack. And those forwards, I mean, they're doing so much better than we saw them before. I mean, they're challenging right now. Steve Lane, right on the rear end of Marlon Moffat. Marlon Moffat, no slouch. He hasn't really been doing. He's been struggling a little bit these last couple of weeks. But we've seen before that he can be up there and perform. And
he's of course running another one of those Spartan cars. As this is further back in the field. That's the 63 of Sindre Silva, just working. He's already up one spot and right on the back of Brandon Lambert. And Lambert, you take a look at that car as well on the nose of Brandon Lambert. So looking out the back now at Sindre Silva, but the nose of that car as well has a nice tribute to Jack Belton on it. Help Jack fight. Definitely gonna do that for you. Watching from home, Jack, and wish you the best. But what a battle that he is in to show off that beautiful race car.
Yeah, and I mean, look at Sindre Silva right now. I mean, actually, just pointing out real
almost
quick.
in contact. Yes,
Oh,
Sindre
no,
Silva. Late under braking was Sindre Silva, just completely wiped out Brokaw.
Can't buy that.
Lambert, sorry.
I was about to say, I mean, the Audi and the Lamborghini are very similar cars, almost, because Audi does own Lamborghini, the R8 and the Huracan are similar, but I mean, hey, we don't really have to point that out anymore. There's only a Lamborghini on our stream now.
And it looks like you just laid on the brake. It's sliding right across the nose there of Silva. That was Russell Clayton. I believe that's his first race of the season, if I'm not mistaken. His first race of the season as he tries to wait for his safe clearing, making his NASA debut. And speaking of NASA, just another one of those great spaceship liveries that we've seen. There's a look at your GTM leader, as always, Christian Challoner, followed up by Clark Archer, and then Steve Brown in third. Sindre Silva picked up a couple spots on that lap, maybe not the way he wanted to do it, but he is up to P4, and there is Houston in fifth. This is a tough battle. This is between Clog and Ragster, I believe. Clog just got the spot back, so he's up to fourth, and Von Pando right there trying to send it up the inside. He's side by side with his teammate into the final corner and down the straightaway. Almost door-to-door contact there between the two, and thankfully they kept things on the track, that kept things clean.
I want to point out, oh wait, thought we were missing Blake Reynolds. I hadn't scrolled all the way up on my screen. Those two up, pulled ahead about 4-second gaps for Ray Kingsbury. Ray Kingsbury in the grass a little bit there. Looks like he's okay though. Josh Clog trying to close up to his teammate, but he also has to keep an eye out for those Ferraris. And the forward of Matt Kingsbury back there.
And definitely interesting to watch. I wouldn't really call them struggles. They're still running top 5, but Panda Rags are 5th and 6th for Team Renovo. Got some work to do, work their way up in the field. 5th is would I believe be the worst finish by any of their top guys so far this season.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be brilliant. Yeah.
Gee, very unfortunate to see, I believe, is what you were going for there, but they do have some tough competition up in front of them. Ray Kingsbury and Josh Clog put on a show all season for Team Spark Virtual Racing, and that's another intense battle right there on track. That is the 72 of Sean Stratton and behind him the 80 of Derek Holland. Very wide there with Stratton losing time. Lambert there as well. Lambert, of course, was involved in that contact with Sindre Silva earlier, trying to work his way up. But these are spots for position for Brandon Lambert.
Yeah, an angry driver is a fast driver. I don't think he's going to be happy with the way Sindre Silva raced him there. Will he be able to recover? I don't know if he'll be able to get back to Sindre, but, I think considering he's 24th right now overall, say he may be able to get to, 20th overall, which would be really good. I'd put him in sixth place in class. That'd
that's nothing to laugh at, especially when you get kind of punted there.
On board here with Josh Clogg looking out the back at Savy and Ragster right behind him. Ragster at the end of the straightaways, as we've seen all season, has the speed. They're side by side now, getting the nose on the inside, is able to make it stick. Well, he's going to be clear under braking, is he?
Oh, no, 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 no.
Oh, no! Wow! What a way to make that one stay from Josh Clogg. They're fighting real hard the long way around.
Yeah, there was no contact there, which is interesting. Maybe the air on the nose, Josh Clogg just got to the side of Sabian Ragster, just kind of pushed him, made him a little bit loose. Obviously, that's one of the things we do kind of have to worry about in iRacing. It's not as prevalent as it would be in real life, but it's
here's
still
a
very
look at a slow motion replay. They're coming down the hill, one of the fastest parts on the track, and there was a little bit of a wiggle there. But I believe that there might have been space for Josh Clogg being able to hold that position, but still right behind him. And we talked about the track condition, the cooler temperatures, but my goodness, it's getting dark.
Yeah, we're gonna be having some night racing here, fellas. I mean, it's just a bit unprecedented. Obviously, I didn't really know what time we were gonna be racing that, but it's it's exciting. We haven't really gotten to see how these guys perform when they can't see the track in front of them. I don't know if we're really going to get too much into that point, but it's definitely going to be a little bit dimmer for them.
Yeah, racing at night in the dark. Oh, he's going to get done on exit of the chicane this time. Thought about it on entry. And losing a ton of time is Josh Clogg. Almost some contact there between Clogg and Panda, but they get the 2 spots, and that's going to drop Josh Clogg back to 6th place.
And Josh Clogg seeing double there. 2 Ferraris going around him in the same corner. I don't know. He's going to have some work to do to get those positions back. Dan McDonald and Matt Kingsbury. Kingsbury was able to get clear of him. But, I don't know. Don't count Dan McDonald out. He's still pretty fast. I mean, all these Renovo guys are. Kingsbury, too, though. I mean, I don't want to be, underselling a lot of the talent that we have in this division. Michael Janney, another Renovo guy. Obviously had some problems early on, but he's making his way back up.
And they do have a little bit of gap. This is further back. Some of the Matco Tools cars battling it out amongst themselves. That's the 67 of Tim Brokaw and Kevin Fanning. Right there, teammates trying to just work their way up through the field down this long back straightaway.
Yeah, these guys haven't been able to have the standout performance. They've been like really good, consistent guys. You don't see these guys having too many problems. Kevin Fanning and Tim Brokaw, I mean, both of those especially. Steve Lane, maybe a little bit off the pace here. He was pretty fast in qualifying, but he's still. These guys keep it clean, and and when guys make mistakes, they're able to capitalize on it.
And with the huge run now is Kevin Fanning. This is a little further back in here. That's Derek Holland that we're looking at there. Right behind 4th position is getting left. That's the 33 of Clayson. Saw him spin earlier. Just got lost his first lap of the race.
Yeah, we talked about earlier in the sprint, like how fast the leaders catch up to you. We are, I think, only maybe 12 or so minutes in, and we're already there. I mean, we're probably going to see another 2 or 3 lap car cycles, which could, wreak havoc on Blake Reynolds or on Philip Kraus. I mean, both of them are playing it. It's a dangerous game you play when you're going through traffic, but it's a necessary danger.
And one thing to note, by the way, Sindre Silva, something has happened to him about a lap and a half or 2 laps ago. He made contact with the wall with his back end. He is out of this race. He has pulled it in and disconnected from the session, so unfortunately looks like his day is done.
Yeah, unfortunate. Obviously, Sindre, a friend of ours. He was having a really good run. Unfortunately, had that little mishap with Brandon Lambert. But other than that, I mean, he was keeping it clean. He was pretty competitive. I'm just not up to Christian standards, but it's very hard to be there. But that's unfortunate for Sindre.
Yeah, 6 seconds from Challoner back to Archer, and then another 4 from Archer to Houston. And then from there, Gap's really kind of stretching things out in GTM. So the top 5 being Challenger, Archer, Houston, Forrest, and Carroll. Only 2 other cars of Lambert and Brown still on the lead lap overall. They do have some work to do if they want to catch up to your class leader, Christian Challenger.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Challenger's just been so good throughout the season. It really doesn't seem like anybody's going to compete with him, but, you know, I still pray for the day that we will see somebody come to him. Clark Archer, maybe not it. Peter Houston, actually, I want to point out, he's been just chewing his way through. He's up 5 spots already. He's about to take second away from Clark Archer if he's able to keep the pace he's been at. It's going to get a little bit tougher to follow the GTM. And we're going to have to rely on our producer here because everybody's about to go a lap down.
Yes, but Archer still about 9 or so seconds behind, but Kraus, Reynolds, Kingsbury, Ragster, and Panda of your top 5 up at the front, and just slowly working the way up the field are those Ferraris of Renovo. Let's go look at the overall leader there of Philip Kraus, working his way, and now down through the field there. That is McDonald trying to work on, I believe that's Matt Kingsbury there in 7.
Yep, they've been battling for a while.
And that's just ahead of them as well with Josh Clogg.
Yeah, Clogg was there for a second. I mean, he hasn't lost a bit of time to Ivan Panda and Sigmund Raxter. I mean, but not that much. Actually, Panda really not that far away from Josh Clogg. I mean, hell, those two might be able to close up to Sabian Raxter. I mean, he's losing a lot of time to lap traffic here as he tries to go around Brandon Lambert. Has to keep a shallow line through there to avoid sending him off into the grass. Here comes Josh Clogg going to the inside of Steve Brown. Oh, not Steve Brown, sorry, Russell Clayton.
Yeah, it gets very hairy with the way that this, I would call it a straightaway because it's so long, but there's so many just subtle twists and turns that you do have to look at. And off the brake, that's one of the Renovo cars. That's Dan McDonald. He's completely cutting that corner, but able to regain control and thankfully keep
he didn't lose that much time. I mean, he only maybe lost a little bit of time there, if it is Dan McDonald we're talking about. Okay, just double check it. I mean, yeah, I didn't see the action for myself, but he obviously hasn't hurt him too much. He goes around Brandon Lambert now. That's Ferrari.
Talking about trying to get the most out of your cars and kind of exposing track limits. That might just be a little shortcut he took, depending on how bad the slowdown is.
Yeah, I mean, I'd assume he's served it already. I mean, it's been about, you have 30 seconds to do it.
You have to be
far more than 30 seconds.
You have to be very smart about how you take your slowdowns, and about 15 or so, just over 15 minutes into this 45-minute feature, still Challenger out front. That is the battle between Josh Clogg and Ivan Panda right in front of him. Being reminded by our producer, yeah, this team Renovo has really struggled with traffic as the season has gone on.
Yeah, if I'm not wrong, if I remember correctly, the season opener, Sabian Raxter was cost a chance at a win by a lap car that allowed Ray Kingsbury to run ahead and get the win, or Blake Reynolds to run ahead and get one to two to go ahead.
We do have a nice battle in the mid-pack of GT3s as well, between the 44 of Kieran Forrest and Taylor Carroll right behind. On their way onto the straightaway, Carroll now with a great run, and he's going to just send it around the outside of Taylor Carroll. Or around Forrest, excuse me. Don't know if this is just trying to let another car in front try to save fuel, but the way that he made that move so late down the straightaway, look like he just let him by. Definitely some respect there between the two teammates as Ray Kingsbury now makes his way past.
We really haven't pointed out too much, but Taylor Carroll and Kieran Forrest have really nice paint schemes. Obviously, the teal and the yellow combo with the black, just really an interesting combo. I mean, you know, light. I mean, really making light and dark work.
Yeah, Team Art Designs always puts out some great looking cars. They did the same last season and get a little headlight action there as the sun starts to go down. Definitely an unexpected evening race, but it's definitely making these cars look that much more beautiful in the sunset. Yeah, that's
Real quick, I've just got news from Cinder Silver down the pitch. The reason he crashed is because his chair broke. And apparently that's the second time that happened last night. If I'm not wrong, that happened when he was battling for the win at Cloud West. Just unfortunate.
wow. That's very unfortunate for him. But yeah, these lights that you see on the front of Taylor Carroll, you'll notice his teammate behind him does not have that extra light on. That is something that you can change it in. I don't know if it's an in-car setting or if it's something you have to make on the pit lane, but very smart move by him turning it on. It is a change that you do have to make in the pit lane, is what I'm being told. So, wow. I didn't even realize that was a thing on this car, but Taylor Carroll coming prepared.
Indeed.
Yeah, that's Team R Design with Masterclass Performance Racing. Doing a great job showing up here all season long. This is Team Matco Tools. We're looking at the battle between, is that the 68 of Brokaw I'm seeing there? Or sorry, yeah, that's Kevin Fanning, sorry, and Steve Lane. Getting all my cars mixed up because Tim Brokaw's right in front of these guys for position. So 3 consecutive Brokaw, Kevin Fanning, and Steve Lane, 3 consecutive Matco Tools on track, running the black, the yellow, and the white stripes.
Yeah, those Matco cars, gorgeous looking machines.
Very simple cars as well. There's a look at Tim
kind
Brokaw.
of a throwback to the Ford GT40s, the 60s and 70s.
That is exactly what their inspiration was for that car, and this is a battle once again between Clog and Pandev. And Matt Kingsbury lost a couple spots. He worked his way up, I believe, to 6th or 5th, and now he's all the way back down to where he started in 7th place. Michael Janney still kind of struggling after his early incident as well. He started 3rd, down to 8th, but car's kind of coming into its own right now. Just kind of trying to work his way up through the field, right on the back bumper of Matt Kingsbury now.
Yeah, he had a little bit of a mishap at the beginning of the race, but he's now, showing why he's one of the top guys, right up there in the points battle. Look at him as he makes a move on Matt Kingsbury to the outside on the straight. It's going to be the inside and turn in the chicane. Oh, we got a guy off there. I saw just on my screen. That's Peter Houston's off.
Houston was running 3rd and losing a ton of time.
Oh, he was
now making the move though. Now making the move is Michael Janney. As we now look at the replay back to that. Yeah, he some contact there.
Just ran out of road there.
They were side by side, and yeah, that's just unfortunate to see if you're a fan of Peter Houston.
Just unfortunate.
Car seems to be in pretty good shape, but yeah, just kind of following up on the battle we were watching earlier. That's Josh Clog that we're looking at there, working his way down the hill. Just kind of to follow up, there was a pass. Michael Janney did in fact get around Matt Kingsbury in that chicane, so. That position has swapped, and Janney up to 7th, Kingsbury down to 8th.
Yeah, just Janney obviously now moving his way up. I think a top 5 would be ideal for him. He's got about half the race to go. He could still do it. He's about 6 seconds back to Josh Clark, but he is getting held up by this lap traffic of Taylor Carroll through the S. It's a really hard place to pass there. No real harm. Or no real fault to anybody.
And look at this beautiful car there of Philip Kraus working his way down through this long downhill S section, followed then by Blake Reynolds in the 06. Now working their way back up the hill. And last lap, Philip Kraus 116 flat, Blake Reynolds 115.6, so 4/10 of a second last lap for Blake Reynolds, cutting the gap down to just over a second.
Yeah, impressive showing by Blake Reynolds here. Can he make his way and you know, get this win? If he's closing in enough, I mean, he could, as long as he's not heating up his tires too much and he's not taking all the rubber off. It's actually, here comes Philip Kraus to put our leader Christian Challoner a lap down. That's exciting.
Christian Challoner, yeah, 18 seconds up on Clark Archer. Peter Houston only dropped, or he remained in third. So yeah, it's still Challoner, Archer, Houston, 1, 2, and 3. Right behind is Taylor Carroll and Kieran Forrest. 9/1000ths of a second, the difference in lap time last lap between Kraus and Reynolds. So I think Phil Kraus maybe just wanted to make things a little more interesting, or maybe just getting, wow, what a Blake Reynolds just clipping that curb, the car squirreling all over the track, but that's a full send if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna maybe gain an advantage here on Philip Kraus because of the way that Christian Challoner wet Philip Kraus by. I mean, he kind of had to let him go to turn one if he was able to get him on the straightaway. Would have gained a ton of time, would have been able to get a nice draft, but now he's going to lose a little bit of time. I mean, you know, they have shown to be about the same place. Maybe Blake's even a little bit faster. I don't think this battle's done yet.
Let's look back, though, at the 46 of Brandon Lambert and the 33 of Russell Clayson. These guys are battling real hard further back in the GT3 class there, and just sending it all over the back bumper. Uh-oh. There's the A car, and maybe the blink, and side by side as Lambert flips back in. That's just bad timing there, but they're side by side, and Marwan Mafta just completely vanished.
Brandon Lambert with a head of steam, just, you know, so maybe a little bit frustrated because of Sandra Silver's instant there at the beginning. I mean, just, you know, wants to charge his way back into the field. He's almost in the top. He's almost in the top 6 now. I think he just has to get around Steve Brown to. No, he's past Steve Brown. No, he's not. Wait. Oh, Russell Clayson. Russell Clayson.
There was. Yeah, Steve Brown ended up spinning off of the final corner on his last lap and then trying to rejoin. That's what happened to Marwan Mafta, is that he picked up some damage colliding with him as he spun across the front straightaway.
I was wondering, man. Brandon Lambert was up front. I was actually ahead, and now he's, you know, right in front of him now. Brandon Lambert trying to make this move now on Russell Clayson, so from one Mercedes to another.
Yeah, and it was Steve Brown just going around on his own. Looks like maybe caught the grass on the outside coming into the final corner, and he would have been fine, but barely got hit there by Marwan Mafta, and it just tore up the right front of his race car.
Blake Reynolds lost a little bit of time there on that lap, I think. 10th, I don't. Yeah, unfortunately, just bad lap there. Maybe a little bit of lap traffic, but I think he might have gotten some dirt on the tires. Maybe a bit more there. I mean, he just, you know, took a very aggressive line. I mean, he's just costing himself time at this point. He's got to stay off the curbs and you know, keep tires clean, because you can't go fast if you have dirt all over them.
And a huge gap back to Ray Kingsbury in third place. It is about 2 seconds from Kraus to Reynolds, and then 10 more or so back to Ray Kingsbury. And saving Ragster right behind him, about 1.5 seconds from Kingsbury to Ragster.
Yeah, Ragster making his way up through the field. Started 8th. I mean, Ray Kingsbury is falling into his clutch a little bit. Looking at the lap times, Kingsbury ran at 1:16, 180 lap. Saving Ragster ran his fastest lap of the race at 1:15.838, so 0.3 faster a lap, basically. And he was actually, that might have been over the course of 2 laps even. Yeah, it was. Ray Kingsbury had a really poor lap 20 2 laps ago, with a 7/10, I think, to Ragster there. Just, I don't know, maybe slipping a little bit.
The only person to drive a sub 16-second lap on the last lap around was Philip Kraus, putting almost a full second on
And
Blake
saving
Reynolds
Ragster now.
there. Yep, Ragster now crossing line. It's down to a
didn't count,
15-6 as well.
Yeah, that one didn't count though. I think he might have got it off track. It's not scoring it as fast as lap, even though it's 2/10 quicker than everything else. So we're watching as this track cools down, and if the conditions change, some guys are getting faster.
Lighter fuel load as well. If you're saving tires, you can definitely put on a show and make some moves you couldn't make before. Kraus now 3.3 seconds was his advantage last time at the line. This is further back, though. That is Matt Kingsbury trying to work on Michael Janney. And that sun very harsh as you go through that second part of the double right-hander there after coming onto the back straightaway. As you come around after the first half of that double right-hander, after the first corner, you're going straight west, and that's just going to be straight into that setting sun.
Yeah, it's really, really challenging because you want to make the move, but you also really can't see your drive. You can't see the guy in front of you that much, so you have to just be careful because you don't want to be the guy who makes a move too late and sends a guy spinning off onto the club layout. I mean, or to the wall, depending on which way you shoot him.
Yeah, but still, this is on board with Matt Kingsbury, and you can see he really is trying to make up so much later on the brakes there into turn 2 was Kingsbury. We'll see if he can pick up the throttle and keep the speed up right behind Michael Janney.
I think Josh Clogg's losing maybe a small bit of time. I mean, Janney is starting to close in a good bit there. Let's look at his lap times. 1:16.361 for Mike Janney there. 1:16.369 for Josh Clogg. So not much of a difference, but I don't know. Don't count Janney out.
Yeah, shot for shot, those guys are just trading blows. Still up front, Philip Kraus. And still up front of the GT3s is Christian Challenger. No change in the top 3 of either class.
Yeah, Blake Reynolds running fast laps, but Kraus just running a little bit faster.
We'll have to see. We might see some moves here for third place, the third step of the podium in the GTEs. Ray Kingsbury just having Savian Ragster kind of creep into that rearview mirror as he's just slowly but surely gaining time on him.
And Jaws music starting to play for Ray Kingsbury here.
Less than a second at the line, about 0.7 of a second, the gap between those two cars last time by.
Yeah, as they come through the S's now. Let's talk about the S's for a second. Maybe one of the greatest sets of corners in motorsports. I mean, just so interesting about how the elevation changes and just how fast you have to be. You can almost hold it flat out until the end, but you can't quite in some cars. It's just incredible.
Yeah, you want to keep it flat. You want to be aggressive, but if you're too aggressive, it's very punishing with the way that the wall works along the right side of the track. We've seen some spectacular crashes over the years in Petit Le Mans, but I mean, overall, it's a very technical track. You can make up a ton of time in that sector just by getting that section perfectly.
Here comes Savian Ragster. Ooh, getting right up to the bumper, Ray Kingsbury. I mean, he's closed in about probably 0.4 of a second here. Ray runs wide.
Very wide. He's under pressure now. Is he going to send it? Ragster to the inside. Breaks maybe a little too much. Thought better of that move, and he's just going to slot in behind Ray Kingsbury once again.
Seen Savian Ragster really aggressive in the early parts of this season. Maybe he's realized that, checkers or records isn't a great strategy. Now he's starting to be a lot more conservative here, and I think it's paying off for him. Look at him just thinking better of. I think the old Ragster probably would have sent it up there into Kingsbury, but I don't know.
I would have done the same, because if there's a hole and you don't take it, you aren't racing.
Indeed. It's going to be my scene.
Still working all over the back bumper of Ray Kingsbury is Savian Ragster. A lot of the field further back is really thinned out. That Clayson and Lambert battle pretty close still, but Clayson's still holding the spot by about a second or so. This looks like it might be the best battle on track. Maybe Janney and Matt Kingsbury as well, but overall this is up towards the front, and these two are just duking it out. Coming to the chicane.
Making a move to the outside.
Very defensive line from Ray, who gets the better exit. Kingsbury out last time by clipped the grass with his left side tires. Went very safe there. Left about half a car length between himself and the grass, and still with a huge run for Savian Ragster. Oh no! Almost contact there.
there might have been, I don't know if there was contact there, but maybe just Ragster just waiting for the right time. Going up the hill in turn 1 is just so risky to make a move on.
He wanted to make that move so bad. He was so much later on the brakes, peeked his nose out, and then at the last second tucked back in. I thought there was going to be contact, but no, these guys clearly know their cars better than I do.
Look at us. We're just a couple commentators here.
There's a reason that we're up here in the booth. I'll put it that way.
Yep.
10 or so laps to go, 11 minutes and counting still remaining here.
This is going to be the pass for third here, I think. Oh, is Ray going to do some heavy defending?
Ray is going to hold the inside, but he's got a better run on the right side now is Ragster. Is he going to be able to get clear by the time they even get there? Very late on the brakes will be Kingsbury, and he holds it there, just full sends it, and wow, just slams the door on Ragster.
And neither guy really giving an inch, but at the same time, they're treating each other with so much respect. Just great racing right now.
He's got the run again, does Ragster, but early on the brakes, very safe. Knows that he's got plenty of time to get this move done with still 10 minutes left in the race.
Yeah, his patience is going to pay off. He knows that on the draft, that's going down that straightaway. That's what's going to hurt you. So if you can make that move like as confidently as possible, you want to do that.
Yeah, tires are going to be the big thing here. Is Ragster able to protect his tires enough to actually have enough at the end to get the spot and then keep it from Ray?
Come onto the straightaway now. Who will get a good run off of here? Kingsbury a little bit wide. That little twitch right at the end might have cost him. I don't know. I mean, Ragster's going to get a really good run down here. Didn't have as much of a draft last time because he made that move so early, but I think now this is his time.
And I just have to say, I know that it wasn't intentional with the evening start, but it does. Oh, here is the move. Oh, just slamming the door again is Kingsbury.
I don't think he was close enough there.
This evening start, I think, just has given us some spectacular views and some beautiful shots. Some great racing to go along with it, but this golden hour, it's earned that name for a reason.
Yeah, definitely some things that are going to have to go into the intro package here. Just great racing, great shots, beautiful track, especially with the hills. When you see cars coming over, especially the turn 2 hill, it's just, wow.
Still battle for third that we are watching their best battle on track. Pandev and Clog right behind them as well. They're about less than a second or so between them at this point. Then further back is going to be Fanning and Brokaw. That battle still going on between those two teammates. They have been fighting for basically this entire feature as well.
Coming down the straight for Kingsbury. Trying. He's got a draft of the BMW in front of him. Who is that? That's the Derek Holland machine in the 80 car.
Now peeking. Just thinking about it a little bit there was Ragster, but I have to see if Holland is able to get out of the way, not impact these guys' race and hold up Kingsbury at all.
I think Ragster's cooling his tires down a little bit because he knows he's got a faster car, but he can't let those things spin out from under him. There he goes to the inside of the lap car.
Yep. Very smart racing there by Holland, just making sure these guys are battling hard for the podium. They're fighting it out, and I'm just going to sit back here and watch if you're Derek Holland.
Yeah, I mean, just, why wouldn't you want to see this battle? Just incredible racing, honestly. And this is why so many pro drivers, like your Novaks, like your Jimmy Moses, like your Christian Challengers, and your Blake Runners, why they all want to come race us, because we provide. I mean, these guys just, even if they're not the household names, they're just so good. Maybe they deserve to be. I mean,
very loose on exit there was Savian Ragster.
Now coming down the straightaway. Can Ragster make the move? I think he's just going to have to keep staying in the draft. Not burn up his tires too much. I mean, there is a lap car up ahead that looks like Brandon Lambert. Yeah, it is Brandon Lambert. And Russell Clayson's about a second ahead of him there. So they're going to have a little bit of traffic to get through. All depends on how Ray gets through, because, Savian will be able to capitalize off that.
he gets a great run off the final corner coming into turn 1.
Coming to about 5 laps to go. It should be, I think, 4 at the line. I do want to take a look back at the battle, though, for 10th in GTEs, where Kevin Fenney has actually finally gotten around Tim Brokaw, as they've been battling it out for quite a while, cresting the hill there, and then right behind them as well, Steve Lane. So still 10th, 11th, and 12th for Team Matco Tools, putting on a great show for their sponsor there, just duking it out, giving themselves as many photo opportunities as they can as we go back on board with Ivan Pandev, currently running 5th in that 99 Renovo machine. Yeah, Josh Clark.
Right now we have a little bit of a Renovo sandwich between the two Spark Racing guys. Pandev and Ragster just, Ragster trying to get the position from Ray Kingsbury in the Spark car. Pandev trying to hold off a Spark car. Just really interesting to watch.
Yeah, we've got some interesting battles here.
Oh, look at how much Ragster closed up to him there.
Well.
He's right on his bumper coming through the final corner.
You have Ragster right there. There is that laps car as well.
Lambert.
That is Brandon Lambert. What a great car he is running as they come up, cresting through turn 2, and they're just fighting neck and neck between Ragster and Kingsbury, blow for blow. Every time you think Ragster is going to get the spot, Kingsbury just closes the door.
Yeah, I'm just looking at how much dirt at the top of the hill there.
Hitting the curb just painfully wrong was Ray Kingsbury right there. He's going to lose a ton of momentum, but somehow, even though Ragster is gaining on him, he's going to keep the spot.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe the way the air works down the S, you're able to kind of hold a little bit more of an advantage because Guy doesn't have as much downforce to the ring, and the place is so downforce important, like those S's.
Yeah, and you see him kind of weaving a little bit back and forth across the track down the straightaway for Kingsbury. There are 2 lapped cars right in front of them as well.
Side by side.
Defensive move again by Ray Kingsbury. He's not going to have that front downforces right in front of them now. This is Russell Playson.
And there's another car in front of him. That's Kieran Forrest.
And that battle is for position as well.
Oh,
and they're 3 wide. Oh, we happened to hit the brakes.
Glove tap there.
Having to hit the brakes was Ragster early to stay out of the back of Kingsbury, but not also collect that lap
car here. They're all going to close up. Actually, about to close up seriously.
That is Kieran Forrest.
Is he going to try it through the S's, baby?
Oh,
right on the bumper.
This is not a comfortable spot if you are Kieran Forrest right in front of him. Because you know that you want to let these guys go by, but you can't cost yourself any time either. You're still battling with cars. Also, early on the brakes, there's Forrest letting those guys go. And I guess the benefit for those guys is that the battle was already close, so they don't have to fight too hard, to not lose time between the 2 of them, as they were so close to begin with.
We got to watch 2 battles up here, but I think
here is the run from Ragster. He's going to get side by side.
He's at the door. I think he might have
the nose there. No, we've seen Kingsbury fight this very hard, very late on the brakes. And we talk about that mid-corner speed all season long.
Oh, he got loose.
This is going to be it. This has to be it. And it is. Savvy and Ragster getting the spot. Kingsbury drove it in too deep.
What happened to him?
And Kingsbury spins it. Can he keep it off the wall? So that is keeps it off the wall, but losing one.
Losing to Ivan Pandev. Now looking at Ivan Pandev. Obviously, Kingsbury just got passed by him and Josh Clogg. Clogg.
So close to hitting that wall. The wing is still intact though, and Ray Kingsbury does lose spots to both Clogg and Michael Janney. So now he's right in front of his brother, Matt Kingsbury.
Yeah, unfortunate for him. I mean, Michael Janney is the next. Oh, he didn't. No, Ray lost a spot to Janney? No, he didn't.
No, he did not. Okay. Getting our cars a little mixed up. They do have the chrome livery versus the matte now, but I still get these zebras all mixed up. So it was Ragster that got around first, and then Pandev and Clogg that he lost spots to. He's still in front of Janney.
I mean, Clogg's got to run down the backstretch on Ivan Pandev. They're using the lap cars as picks and draft. I think Clogg's going to send it.
Not quite. He's going to hold right behind him. He's going to think better of it. I don't think we only have 2 laps to go, maybe.
Yeah, a minute and a half left. A lap here takes 1:15. So yeah, should be 2 laps remaining as the sun begins to set. And so does this beautiful night of racing here at Road Atlanta for the Peach State Classic presented by Slipstream Media. Right on the back bump. I thought that, you know, all the great battles on track were over when Ragster finally got around Kingsbury, but now you have Panda just being hounded by Josh Clogg, and Panda very loose. I don't think there was contact, but a great job by Clogg not to get into the back of him, but also to get the move done.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think this battle's over yet. Pandev's like right behind him. He didn't lose that much time, I think, just because Clogg had to check up. This is far from over, fellas. We still got another whole lap to go.
It's so close taking a look at that replay between the two, and they're still so close. I don't know how you don't lose a ton of momentum, but still very defensive.
And to the outside.
We just saw this move work for his teammate.
Deep in his Clogg.
The final corners for his penultimate lap, so he takes the white flag, and he's now working on his last one.
Yeah, working through the S's now, coming on to a short shoot before the guitar handle. I mean, we're gonna be watching this battle between Pandev and Clogg. I'll keep an eye on Philip Kraus and let you know that he won this race, because right now it doesn't look like anything else is gonna happen there.
Yeah, barring a mistake from Kraus, he's up 3.8 seconds last time by the stripe, and then 19 seconds back to Ragster. 7 back is behind them is Josh Clogg and Ivan Pandev. Very wide there. Very wide there. Catching that bump. That's the same corner he lost a position in. He's just getting too aggressive. Maybe the tire's too worn down, and he is pushing very hard.
Back up his corner here, and he's going to try and make a run down into the chicane. He got a decent, real good close up there. Can he do it?
Through the final corner for the final time here at Road Atlanta. Taking the checkered flag is Philip Kraus, followed by Reynolds and Ragster. But let's go back to this battle between Pandev and Clogg. Going into the chicane for the final time. Pandev's going to be very late on the brakes. Can he get the run out? A little bit loose. There is Clogg. How's the exit? He's going to just close the door. Oh, almost contact there between Clogg and Pandev. There might have been contact, we're being told. And we still do have coming to the chicane, actually, for the final time is going to be Christian Challoner. He's got a huge lead of about 25 seconds back to Clark Archer. And then who else is going to be up there?
There was a little bit of contact there between Clogg and Pandev. Oh, that's controversial.
Here comes Christian Challoner to sweep another event. 5 features
10 in a row.
5 features and 5 sprints for Christian Challoner, extending his points lead and just dominating this GT3 season.
Yeah, truly, I mean, just so impressive.
It's been such a fun event to watch. We had that battle between Kingsbury and Ragster. Once that one wrapped itself up with a nice little bow at the end of it, then it was Clogg and Pandev to seal the deal with a great finish between those two as well. Let's take a look through our top finishers. I'll take a look starting with our GT Pro class, with Philip Kraus getting his first win of the season, followed by Blake Burns and Saving Rags for wrapping up the podium. Then Josh Clogg and Ivan Pandev wrapping up the top 5. Then Kingsbury, Janney, Matt Kingsbury, and Dan McDonald and Kevin Fanning finishing the top 10. And the last couple finishers in GT Pro were Tim Brokaw, Steve Lane, and Cody Cosgrove.
Oh, we have a moment right now. Philip Kraus and Blake Reynolds, they were doing dual burnouts together. Now they're stuck inside of each other.
Wow, what a great show. I mean, they were battling hard. Those guys fought the entire race. And Christian Challoner, as we mentioned, got another win in the GT AM category. So let's go ahead and talk to our overall winner with Philip Kraus joining us here in the booth. Philip, a great race from you. So you started on pole, you dominated the feature. What a great show you put on.
Yeah, it was fun. Had a few moments with lap cars. Sometimes they did something that you wouldn't really expect them to do. But yeah, overall it was pretty fun cruising.
What obviously not a series regular here in GT Americas, but you definitely you made it look like you belonged out there. How does it feel, kind of just jumping back into the series? I think, is this your first race of the season here? It is.
Yes, it is. It's fun. I watched a few of the broadcasts. Saw the Ford wasn't doing too hot, so I wanted to see if the Ford was genuinely slow or if people were just struggling with the setup with the car or something like that. But honestly, it surprised me a bit because I was expecting it to be the third quickest car because it was struggling on the straights a little bit compared to everyone else still, but it was basically the same car lap after lap after lap, and I know you can't say that about the Corvette.
And you talk about kind of the camaraderie that we have in the series. We saw you doing some beautiful, beautiful donuts at the end there with Blake Reynolds. Did you guys kind of plan that out, man, or was that just something that happened out there? Because you guys made it look like you coordinated it.
Nah, we were just burning it down. We were having a little fun.
Do we should we expect to see you back here next week for the next one?
Probably not, but I'll race the races I can make, which I think will be a Coda and Long Beach. I think that is.
Well, you know what? On a technical track like Long Beach, I'd love to see you out there battling out with some of these guys. But last but not least, Phil, any shout outs, any sponsors, anything you want to thank?
Spark Virtual Racing, obviously, they're pretty cool. I sponsor a lot of cars in both these series, and they were the title sponsor last season. Check them out; they make some pretty cool rigs.
Yeah, they switched from virtual reality to virtual racing, and congrats on the win once again, Philip Kraus, driver of the Triple Nines.
Thank you.
Moving on now to our next area, the second place finisher overall, Blake Reynolds joining us once again. Blake, what a race you had there, just trying to chase down Philip Kraus at the end.
Yeah, it was a good one. New car. I don't know if anyone noticed. I tried to keep the same paint scheme. Maybe it would hide it, but yeah, new car this week. I forfeited my points. I don't honestly. I think I told y'all this race won. I don't really care about the championship. I'm just here to go week to week and just run the best I can, and just learn these tracks, learn these cars. So the Corvette did not suit me here. Believe it or not, I was half a second a lap faster over 20 laps in the Ferrari than the Corvette. So quite the difference there. It's mostly driving style, I find, because Ray's really fast in the Corvette. I don't know how he does it, but me switching to the Ferrari is definitely the move. Unfortunately, Philip Kraus showed up today, and this the Ford GT actually likes this track. So, yeah.
Was it solely based on this track, the decision to make the switch in cars, or did it have anything to do with the tracks coming up and kind of how some of them might compare to this?
Well, I think last week I had enough finally. Those Ferraris last week at a track where the Corvette really should be faster. It really bothered me that the Ferrari was that much faster. So I made the switch to the Ferrari. And I put quite the gap on the people who normally dominate in those Ferraris. So I'm looking forward to the next couple weeks in this car. If I can just get the set tuned in, put in some good time, and just learn a little bit more about this car.
Yeah, Barber next week. You like that track? You looking forward to it?
I like it in the Indy cars. I've never raced there in GT, so that'll be new for me. Yeah.
Yeah, IndyCars always seem to put on a good show. They do make up a decent chunk of points as well. Looking forward, we've got Barber, Coda, Mid Ohio. Any tracks you're really looking forward to the last 5 races?
You said Coda?
Yep, we're at Coda in 2 weeks after Barber.
Yeah, it's my home track. I'm from Houston.
There you go. Well, you better show up and represent there.
Yeah, and we're learning the Coke Series goes to Coda this year and Road America. So I already ran Road America, won that race. So yeah, I'm looking to learn Coda in a racing form. I could practice all I want, but I really learn these tracks best in a racing environment. So that's why I wanted to run this league, and yeah.
Well, hey, we appreciate you taking the time to do this with us. You started your Coke series just this past week at Daytona, but going forward, best of luck to you there. Any shouts you want to give? Any sponsors you have to thank?
Sure. Well, I'll thank Ray and all of them for letting me be on their team, even though I switched the car on them. Didn't really help me with the set this week. I got a set
Slackers.
from, yeah, I got a set from someone else, someone in Apex. But anyway, yeah, I'll thank McLaren Shadow. Don't really represent it on the car here. It's just a McLaren car, but McLaren Shadow on the eNASCAR side. And my back end team, Dead Zone Racing, which I believe I'm entered in this championship, although I'm the only car. So
Well, hey, congratulations to you on a second place finish, and we'll look forward to seeing you. Best of luck next week, both here in NASA GT Americas as well as in the Coke Series.
all right, thank y'all.
That is Blake Reynolds, driver of the 06. And joining us next is the winner, the man that deserves his own recliner. I've said it week after week, but he's here once again, Christian. I don't know how you do it.
I mean, it probably doesn't look like it, but honestly, right there, I wasn't actually too happy with how my car was. Seriously, I couldn't really get the balance that I wanted throughout practice, and I mean, it worked out. Like, it was still fast and everything, but it just wasn't quite. I don't know. That didn't feel as hooked up as Interlagos did, for example. I was really happy with how we were there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're kind of running out of questions to ask you here, but I mean, you had a bit of lap traffic you had to let by. I mean, that was exciting.
Your closest competition all season, Novak and Mullis and those guys, decided to take the week off. Of course, they've got the Coke Series starting back up. But you guys really put on a good show week in and week out. And unfortunately, they weren't there to do it, but some of the guys behind you did back it up. How do you kind of challenge yourself when it's basically just you up front for so long?
I kind of feel like this is a bit unfair because I feel like Clark and Peter are both pretty quick actually. I know Peter was a bit unlucky in that first sprint race. I kind of feel like that was my bad on the start there as well because I totally forgot that we'd changed the rules so that you can't pass before the flag stand now, and I was trying to get the start like we've done in previous weeks where like the entire class is on the straight and nobody's in the corner type thing. And so I was trying to do that, and it meant that I didn't want to like start like 50 feet from the corner kind of thing because everybody would be immediately on the brake. So I was kind of really checking up, and we're doing like I don't know 60 I think when it went green. So that wasn't great, and he kind of got shunted. So that was I feel bad about that, and obviously then finding out it was kind of unnecessary in the first place. So that was a shame because he had some really good pace in practice, and I feel like I probably um, kind of handicapped him a little bit there. And Clark does really good in the Mercedes. I know the Mercedes is maybe not the favored car right now, but I mean, pretty much week in week out, he's there. And obviously, Jimmy and Zach and Briar when they can race, there obviously we always have pretty good fights for Jimmy. So um, obviously knew I wasn't going to have that this week, which was a bit of a shame because I do enjoy those races and whatnot. But in terms of what you do when you're kind of out here on your own at times, I mean, you can always learn something, like it's helpful for me on uh, a professional level. I know that sounds kind of weird, but I think you guys know what I mean. Like to actually be good at driving these cars because it helps with finding things out regarding BOP and that kind of thing. So even when I'm out there, I'm trying to figure stuff out. Like I'm trying to figure out a better way to drive the car, a better way to drive the track, and all that kind of thing. So it does kind of turn into a little bit of a hot lapping competition with myself, but I mean, there's always something to learn. Like I was pushing the whole time. I really was.
I know that we like to kind of keep things serious focus here, but we've kind of talked about it all season long as well. You do work for iRace, kind of work on these cars. Do you learn anything in terms of setting up these cars for iRacing from running these races? Do you maybe learn a little more about how it runs in traffic or something like that as compared to just hot lapping it yourself?
Yeah, I mean, you always, especially if you're using the same car week to week, like obviously we are in this series, you do kind of get a really good feel for the car where it needs to be in terms of setup. I feel like I've got this really down right now, and that's actually probably a little bit unfortunate in terms of BOP information because this car for me always comes out really really fast, and I think it's actually because I know it so well now at this point. Like I got a pretty narrow range of springs. I said them last week that I pretty much always stick to. I have a feeling that I kind of run more downforce than everybody else that I talk to, which is a little bit surprising to me, but um, it just works out, you know. So yeah, it's totally helpful to be in the series and running around, and you obviously learn about how the BOP works and whatnot, and I can visually see, because obviously when I'm driving things on my own, I can only feel what it's doing at that point. I can look at lap time, I can look at like how they compare and where each car gains their lap time and that kind of thing, but it's not quite 100% the same as obviously seeing how it races together, and here is a good opportunity to do that. So yeah, it's totally helpful. I mean, seriously, like anytime I'm driving something, it's always helpful. I pretty much always pick up on something. Um, you know, I put forward a suggestion for something that I ended up racing and maybe wasn't the greatest fan of, and and maybe that's now been a thing that we've adjusted on. So you know, it's always helpful to be out here kind of racing stuff.
Have you considered not qualifying?
I have considered not qualifying. Um, I I strongly considered dropping to the rear of the field in the feature, but I kind of don't really like to do that. Like if I'm not gonna qualify, I think that's one thing, you know, and I'm kind of cool with that. But um, I'm not really keen on starting on the pole and dropping back. I feel a bit weird about that.
Yeah.
I feel like it's maybe not really the correct way. But yeah, I mean maybe we could not qualify. That that
I
could
mean,
that could be interesting.
is there a certain part of you that like wants to keep your because you're 10 race winning streak right now. Like you could go for 100%. Like you could go for an average finish to first in this week. Is there a part of you that wants to keep that going? A part of you that wants to see good racing?
Oh, yeah, it's totally 50-50 deal. Obviously, you do kind of enjoy picking up wins and keeping those streaks alive and whatnot. I ran in a league not too long ago, actually, that ran the 1987 Cup car. I picked up 10 race wins in that, and you know, like it's still, the thing is, right, it's still fun to me. I know it sounds a bit weird, and um it might not look like it's that fun, but it definitely is. Just driving the car is fun. So yeah, I always pick up stuff in that sense. And yeah, there is an element of wanting to keep that alive. But then, like you say, obviously the whole thing of having good racing is a thing too. Um, and you know, I think me and Jimmy have had some really really good battles, and I I I kind of I kind of think that everybody else can do that too. If I'm honest, like I don't think Clark and Peter and Taylor are actually really that far off. I rate them as drivers. I think they're really quite good. And same with Russell Clayson. I've raced against him before, and I know all these guys are good. So I think one thing I might start doing is start sharing my setups post race. I can't really share them pre race because I don't have them. If I'm honest, I build them in the session. So that's unfortunately not ever going to be a thing. But I can share them post race, and I'm totally cool with doing that. And to be honest, probably what I'm learning here in the league is going to end up in the iRacing setups anyway.
And we'll wrap things up here. We know you're fast on four wheels. You're asked this space. You've never been asked this question before, ever. Anybody want to thank? Any shout outs you have to give?
Yeah, I actually got quite a few. Obviously, the guys in the NASA Discord will have seen today that Jack had pretty uh, a pretty unfair diagnosis, I would say. So I'd like to give him a shout out. Obviously, we got the ribbon on the car for him as well. And then, um, as I shouted out last week, personal friend John King having a pretty rough time. I've now got a sticker on his car, on my car even. It's under the rear wing. I don't know if that was really shown that much on broadcast. I probably need to put a couple around the car. And I actually said to Chad here before the race and whatnot, it's a little bit sad right now because I painted this car up, you know, like actually kind of maybe during development because I wanted something cool to drive. So I painted it up then, and at the time I threw the Forza Alex hashtag on there because I mean that was for Alex Zanardi. Obviously, he had his hand cycling incident and been in a pretty rough state since then. And the BMW guys ran his hashtag on the car because he was a BMW factory driver for a really long time, and it was kind of, I don't want to say that was a little bit offhand, but it sort of was. You know, it was kind of a little bit of, yeah, this would be a cool thing to do, and then at the same time it was like, well, the factory car does that too, so you know it kind of got to be like that. But then since then, I feel like I've just added more and more names and mementos and to my car, and it's just I don't know, it seems really unfair right now, if I'm honest. Obviously I've got my old crew chief's sticker, Jason K. Miller, that we lost over the holidays. He's on there on the side panel. Now I've got John under the rear wing, and then I've got Jack's ribbon on the side of the car. And I mean, I don't know Jack too well, but it just like there's a lot of guys across iRacing that really do all know each other, like guys in this league and whatnot. I pretty much recognize 75% of the names from either over the time on iRacing or even elsewhere for that matter. So like kind of it's not really happened to me yet where I've kind of lost people close to me, and this is kind of the first time it's happened in a sense of friends, I suppose is the best way of saying it. And it's just rough. Like it's not a lot of fun, and there's a lot of people going through some really rough stuff that they really shouldn't have to. It's just pretty unfair. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff though in the community. I want to actually give shout out to everybody who's donated to John's GoFundMe. I mean, we started that as we kind of went around the old sort of group of guys that used to race with John in Blackadder and Kinetic Racing. Some guys might have heard of those. We went around those guys and whatnot, and we kind of got everybody together and said, hey, look, John's kind of having a rough time and whatnot, and we got a decent number of donations from that. Like even that, it was like $2,500 just from team members. And then we made the GoFundMe and we kind of spread it out a little bit wider, and we set a goal for that of $6,000, and we blew past that earlier today, and it's only been up for a couple of days. So there's a huge amount of good in the iRacing community, and I know things get a bit heated at times, but I think everybody really is kind of linked together. It's a really big community. There's a lot of members, like 180,000 active members or something. So there's a lot of people, but I feel like this is actually a lot of people that know each other too. So it's kind of cool to see that. There's a lot of good community spirit.
Yeah, it's always great to see the community banded together in times like these. And of course, we wish the best for John. For a lot of people in the community, of course, are going through different things, but you know what? It's great to see, even for Jack's news today, a bunch of guys put the ribbons on their car. So, Christian, congratulations on another win. We'll see you next week at Barber Motorsports Park.
Thank you, man. Looking forward to it.
Thanks, Christian. And finally, we've got one final interview joining us now in the booth. The second place finisher had a good view of that sticker that Christian was talking about for a good portion of this race. Clark Archer coming home second today in the Mercedes.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Oh, we're doing pretty good up here. You guys put on a good show there. What were your thoughts on the race?
Wow, the sprint race was epic. Had a great battle with Cindre there, and that went back and forth for a few laps. And I don't know if you saw obviously I haven't seen the broadcast. If you saw the little collision between Peter and myself there in the feature race.
I don't think we caught that. That's unfortunate because I went to see what happened, or I saw you guys were pretty close, and then by the time I looked at it, you guys must have had something happen between you.
Was that coming into the chicane?
Yeah, that was where my intent there was to
oh, that's right,
in the left, but I'd left too much. And then it became what it became.
That's right.
Yeah, we caught that. Yeah, I mean that's just I think that looked like a racing incident to me personally.
Yeah,
I feel bad about it. I meant definitely to be all the way on the left, and I just didn't read it right.
Get you're the only Mercedes on the podium this week. Really a strong showing from a car that struggled. What stood out to you that made it so good here at Road Atlanta?
Oh, well, I think for me, the biggest advantage of the Mercedes is you can just demolish the curbs with it. You get the damper set right, and it just doesn't care. I've tried the Audi before, and the last time I drove that car, if you touched a curb, it was death.
It's your best finish of the season. What's your thoughts on getting second in such a fun, strong field?
It's a lot of fun. It's just disappointing, that some of the faster drivers weren't here tonight. I sure hope they will be back for some of the more races coming up.
Yeah, they do. I know that from talking with them, especially Jimmy Mullis and Zach Novak, the two guys from Richmond Raceway, they were talking about they were running this to kind of get some seat time for some of the road courses that they're going to be running, and one of those is COTA coming up. So hopefully we will see them back. What are your thoughts on kind of racing against some of those top guys that kind of stand out to you? Oh, I got the opportunity to race against some of the best.
It's a blast. I mean, yeah, as a sim racer, being able to race against guys like that are at the top of their game and the top of the sim racing game is just it's real fun. And I know they're still working on their road course pace. I think Jimmy's already there. Zach's getting there. But in the meantime, the door-to-door is a lot of fun.
Yeah, looking forward. We're going to Barber next week. Very, at least from my perspective, a similar feeling track. Some elevation changes, some nice flowing sections as well. What are your thoughts looking forward to Barber?
Barber's one of my favorite tracks. I'm a big IndyCar guy, and I've done a lot of IndyCar racing here on the service, as well as just a lifelong fan. So really, really looking forward to that one. I hope the Mercedes can handle the flow-in corners pretty well.
Yeah, starting to wrap things up here. Let's take a look. We mentioned going to Barber. Let's, I guess, wrap things up here as we talk about anybody you want to thank, any shout-outs you have to give?
I'd really like to say thanks to little brain fade there. I wanted to say thanks to the league organizers. This is one of the most fun leagues I've raced in, and thanks to you guys for putting on the broadcast. And also thanks to my team. I've got a couple of teammates that joined up tonight, so really looking forward to working with them the rest of the season.
Yeah, everybody that kind of helps you out as the season goes on definitely helps, and it definitely paid off tonight. Clark Archer, congratulations on the second place finish.
Thanks, guys.
And thanks for joining us here for the Peach State Classic presented by Slipstream Media. Make sure to tune in next week for the 90-something Studios GP from Barber Motorsports Park. Also, don't forget to stop by the same social media channels on Wednesday night for the Simracer Coin NASA Rallycross Challenge. For Mike Berry and our wonderful producer Victor Vallee, I'm Chad Irvine. Race hard, race safe.